Welcome back to Transfer to Alps, the podcast brought to you by Alps to Alps. We have reached the point in the day where the lifts have stopped turning, the sun has dipped behind the Roc de Fer, and that orange glow on the peaks is fading into deep violet. This is the transition.
It is a very specific atmosphere, isn't it? You've got the steam coming off the crowds at the rond-point. Everyone is still in their gear, clumping around in plastic boots. But the energy is shifting. You're moving from the outdoor slush of the afternoon into the indoor heat of the village centre.
It's a tactical shift. The après is over. Now we are talking about the nightlife. And the first thing you have to handle is the costume change.
This is where people get it wrong. In Méribel, the dress code is casual premium, or what I like to call mountain chic.
Define that for me, because to some that means a clean t-shirt. To others, it means a dinner jacket.
Definitely not a dinner jacket. If you turn up in a suit, people will think you're lost on your way to a wedding in Courchevel. But you can't stay in your thermal base layers either. Think high-end knitwear, clean denim, and decent boots. You want to look like you've just stepped off a private jet, even if you've actually just stepped off a crowded Méribus.
It's about looking effortless while being prepared for sub-zero temperatures. Because once you're changed and headed back out, you need a gateway. You need the strategic first stop. For the 2026 season, that is undeniably Jack's Bar.
Jack's is back, and it has relocated to a prime spot right at the base of the Shodan. It's moved from its old home and essentially upgraded its entire vibe.
It's the perfect bridge. They've kept the soul of the place, the famous comedy nights and the live music. But the new space feels more intentional. It's where the A-list seasonaires and the savvy tourists meet.
And the cocktails! Jack's has always been about that high-energy bar culture. It's loud, it's fast-paced, and it's the place where you set the tone for the night. You aren't sitting down for a quiet glass of wine here. You're grabbing a 2-for-1 deal and planning your next 3 moves.
It functions as the staging area. You get the adrenaline back up after the post-ski shower slump. But you can't stay at Jack's all night if you want to experience the full Méribel circuit.
So, where do we go when we want to turn the volume up to 11?
We head to the main street, to the heavy hitters. We need to talk about the high-voltage heart of the village, Le Pub and The Taverne.
If Jack's is the warm-up, then Le Pub is the main event. It is an absolute beast of a venue. You cannot walk down the main street in the evening without feeling the vibration coming from that place.
It's the sheer scale of it. It's a massive, multi-level space with a huge terrace that stays packed even when it's snowing. But the real reason Le Pub dominates the valley isn't the floor space, it's the live music.
Exactly. This is where Méribel wins. If you go to Courchevel, the music is often a DJ playing generic house tracks. In Méribel, it's about the bands. You've got groups like the Mardy Johnny Depps or the Wingmen. These aren't just cover bands, they are institutions.
They know how to work a mountain crowd. By 10 o'clock, you've got 400 people singing at the top of their lungs. It's loud, it's sweaty, and it's brilliant. It's the massive night out. If you want to see the resort at its most high octane, you stand in the middle of that dance floor.
It's a rite of passage. But sometimes you want something a bit more reliable. A place where you know exactly what you're getting.
That's the Taverne. It's the safety net of Méribel. It sits right on the main street and it's always busy.
It really is. It's the place you go when you can't decide where else to go. The ground floor is a classic dark wood pub. It's cozy, the beer is cold, and the service is fast. It feels like your favourite local back home, just with more snow outside.
It's the consistency. You can walk in there at 6 p.m. or midnight and the vibe is perfect. But if you want to see where the people who actually run the resort go, the ones who have been working 10-hour shifts on the mountain, you have to go downstairs.
You're taking us to Scott's.
Scott's is located just below the Hotel Doran. It has a very specific workers' energy. It's less about the fancy decor and more about high-energy music and very, very cheap shots.
It's the raw side of Méribel. It's loud, it's crowded, and it's where the seasonaires blow off steam. It's fantastic if you want to skip the tourist vibe and just have a high-energy, no-nonsense night.
It's a great place to lose your voice. But eventually, the ringing in your ears starts to get a bit much. You reach a point where you want to actually taste what you're drinking.
You want the sophisticated sip.
I do. I want to shift gears from the pints and the shots to the craft cocktails and the wine lists.
I completely agree. There is a limit to how many Jaeger bombs one can witness before you crave a bit of decorum. And for that, there is a very specific circuit in Méribel that feels much more, let's say, established.
You're heading for the barometer.
Exactly. It's a bit of an institution for the old money crowd and the locals who have moved past the tabletop dancing stage. It's right in the centre, but the vibe is completely different. It's all about high ceilings, large windows, and a very serious wine list.
It's also the place for a proper drink. If you want a specific single malt or a decent gin and tonic that isn't served in a plastic cup, you go to the barometer. And of course, there is the pool table.
Oh, the pool table is the soul of that place. It's where deals are made and rivalries are settled. It's a very comfortable, very British atmosphere, but with that elevated alpine service. It's the kind of bar where you can actually hear yourself speak, which is a luxury in itself.
It's civilized. But for the 2026 season, if you want to know where the mountain chic crowd is actually congregating for their pre-dinner cocktails, you have to talk about Copiña.
Copiña is just stunning. We mentioned it for the tapas, but as a bar, it has completely changed the game in Méribel Centre. It has this very sleek, Spanish-influenced aesthetic, lots of dark tones and soft lighting.
And they have spearheaded the gin revolution in the valley.
They really have. Gin is undeniably the drink of the 2026 season. At Copiña, they don't just pour a drink, they craft it. They have this massive selection of artisanal gins, and they pair them with these incredible botanicals. Fresh rosemary, dried citrus, pink peppercorns. It's a sensory experience.
It's for the palate that wants a break from the heavy Savoyard flavours. It's sophisticated, it's stylish, and it's arguably the best place in the resort to people-watch the elite crowd before they head off to dinner.
It's very pre-club, which brings us to a very strategic location. Because if you know you're going to end the night at O'Sullivan's, which we'll get to in a moment, you need a place to bridge the gap during that mid-evening lull.
You're talking about the Den.
It's situated right above the nightclub, and it is the perfect lounge strategy. It's full of deep sofas, very relaxed lighting, and they focus on craft beers and specialised spirits.
It's the staging ground. If you finish dinner at 10 or 11 and the nightclub doesn't really get going until midnight, you go to the Den. You can have a sophisticated, quiet drink in a comfortable environment, and then you just go downstairs when the time is right.
It saves you from that awkward, standing in the snow wait outside the club. It's the savvy move. But eventually, the lounge music fades and the bass from downstairs starts to rattle the floorboards.
The final stand, the Subterranean Finale.
We have to talk about Sully's, and we have to talk about the valley floor.
If you find yourself walking down the road toward the Mazardiere area after midnight, you have made a conscious decision to see the night through to its inevitable conclusion. You are heading to O'Sullivan's, or as everyone in the valley has called it for decades, Sully's.
It is the undisputed heavyweight champion of the late-night scene. It's subterranean, it's dark, and it is steeped in history. For years, this was Dick's Tea Bar, a name that is basically legendary in alpine folklore. The name changed, but the mission remains the same. It is the place where the night ends because there literally is nowhere else left to go.
It is a fascinating social melting pot. At 2 a.m., the hierarchy of Méribel dissolves. You have the people who spent their afternoon in the VIP section of Folie Douce rubbing shoulders with the seasonaires who have been washing dishes all day. The music is loud, the dance floor is a chaotic sea of mountain chic and functional ski gear, and the energy is relentless.
But we have to talk about the Sully's reality check. That moment at 5 a.m. when the lights finally come up, the music stops, and you have to climb those stairs back to the surface.
It is brutal. You go from a humid 40-degree nightclub straight into the minus 10-degree alpine air. Your lungs practically freeze on impact. It's a very sharp reminder that you are at 1,400 meters. It's the ultimate test of your endurance.
It really is. But Liam, there is an alternative. A valley secret for those who find the centre a bit too much like a tourist bubble. You have to head down the ladder to Les Allues.
You're taking us to Tsaretta.
I am! If you are staying in the lower valley, or even if you aren't, Tsaretta is worth the trip. It's the locals' local. Because Les Allues is a year-round village, the atmosphere in Tsaretta feels, well, authentic. It's not staged for the holidaymakers.
It's the heart of the worker community. You go there for the live music nights, and it feels like a house party where everyone knows your name. It's less about the spectacle and more about the connection.
Exactly. You might find a local farmer sitting next to a high-end property developer. It's got this raw, soulful energy that you sometimes lose when you're up in the purpose-built sectors of the resort. It's the valley secret for a reason. It's where the real Méribel spirit lives after dark.
It's a great way to escape the resort noise. But going down to Les Allues, or even just getting home from Sally's in the early hours, presents a very serious technical challenge.
The logistics of the dark.
Precisely. You can have the best night of your life, but if you end up walking 3 kilometers uphill in the snow because you missed the bus, that's all you're going to remember the next morning.
We need to talk about the lolly bus and the reality of the mountain taxi.
This is the technical reality that ruins many a holiday. Méribel is built on a steep gradient. It is not a flat city. Walking from the main square in the centre up to a chalet in the Morel or Altiport sector after a few drinks is a physical trial. You are dealing with ice, sub-zero temperatures and thin air.
And that is where the Méribus comes in, or as the locals affectionately call it, the lolly bus. It is your absolute lifeline. It's free, it's frequent, and it connects the different sectors of the resort. But, and this is a massive but, you have to respect the timetable.
Precisely. For the 2026 season, the night service generally runs until around 11:30 p.m. or midnight, with some extensions during peak weeks. If you are in Le Pub and you lose track of time, and you miss that last bus to Monterey or Les Allues, your options become very limited and very expensive.
This is the taxi trap. I see people standing on the main street every night, waving their arms around as if they were in central London, trying to hail a cab.
It doesn't work. There is no hailing in the Alps. Most resort taxis are pre-booked days or even weeks in advance. If you manage to find a spontaneous one at 1 a.m., expect to pay a very heavy premium for that 10-minute drive up the hill.
The strategy has to be preemption. Know when the bus leaves, or better yet, make sure you aren't already exhausted before the night even starts.
This brings us back to the Alps to Alps philosophy. If you start your week by battling through a 6-hour coach journey or navigating a stressful car rental, your physical capital is already depleted. You won't have the stamina to survive the nightlife circuit.
It's about legs fresh, as we always say. If your arrival was a smooth, private transfer, you have the energy to stay for that last set at Le Pub and still make it to Sully's.
Logistics on the first day dictate the fun on the 5th night. It's that simple.
But Liam, eventually the bill comes due. The toffee vodka, the late nights at Sully's, the cold walks. By the end of the week, the body is broken.
It is. The damage is done. But fortunately, Méribel is as good at fixing people as it is at breaking them.
In our next episode, we are talking about the recovery. We are diving into the world of spa and wellness.
We'll be looking at the best hammams, the high-altitude saunas, and the luxury treatments that will get your legs back in working order for the final run of the season.
Grab your dressing gown and your slippers. We're going to the spa.
Subscribe so you don't miss the detox. This has been Transfer to Alps.
Stay safe out there, and we'll see you in the steam room.
Goodbye.